kind of freedom available, one that doesn't rely on being heard, understood, or agreed with. It's the kind of freedom, Socrates. The one who can remain still becomes the one everyone eventually turns toward. You'll notice something else too. Life gets lighter, conversations become less about strategy and more about connection. Your mind stops racing to outmaneuver everyone. Your heart softens, not because you've become passive, but because you've become powerful in a new way, the kind of power that doesn't need to dominate, but simply knows its place. The kind of power that walks away from the noise, not because it can't handle it, but because it no longer sees value in it. That's the depth the Stoics trained for, not just to survive conflict, but to transcend it, not just to manage ego, but to outgrow it. And maybe that's the challenge now, to let pride knock at your door and not invite it in, to sit in a room where someone else is loud, arrogant, even wrong, and remain calm, to recognize that silence isn't weakness, it's mastery. You don't need the last word, you don't need to be understood, you just need to remain. Wheels of your daily life keep going until all of it becomes small. Your home, your neighborhood, your city, until you're looking down at the world the way astronauts describe it, silent, still, fragile. It's in that distance that something powerful happens, that worry that tangled your mind all afternoon, the one that kept looping like a stuck record from up here. It's weightless, that careless comment that echoed through your chest. It fades into the background, that email, the one you read and reread, twisting its meaning until it hurt, lose all shape and power from above. It's just dust in a giant swirl of life that keeps moving with or without your tension. Marcus Aurelius did this every night, not to float away from the world, but to come back to it more grounded. You could leave life right now, wrote. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. That wasn't morbid, it was medicine. A way to let go of the false urgency that builds up like pressure in the mind. He practiced what we now call the view from above. The ability to zoom out and return to perspective. He was an emperor surrounded by decisions, conflict, responsibilities, and yet he chose stillness, not inaction, but stillness. Because when you see how small your troubles are against the backdrop of existence itself, you stop being ruled by them. Don't lose touch with reality. You come back to what really matters. Carl Jung once said, people grow like plants in the soil of their own past, but what he didn't mean is that you have to stay buried there. Sometimes you have to rise above the soil and look at the whole field of your life, where you've planted effort, where you've scattered energy, where you've allowed weeds of worry to take over. When you float above it, all you start to notice how much of what steals your peace is completely unintentional, caught in the storm of your own thoughts. The Stoics taught that clarity is power, that emotions, while human and important, are not reliable leaders. They rise fast, burn hot, and often leave ash behind. But clarity that comes from perspective, and perspective is a skill. It can be practiced. It's not about detaching from life or pretending things don't matter. It's about holding them with the proper weight, giving them the space they deserve. But no more. When you zoom out, your problems don't disappear. Something's still unfolding. Let that truth calm your breath. Let it guide you into rest, and when morning comes, you'll wake not just lighter, but clearer, ready to face the day, not as someone drowning in details, but as someone who's seen the sky now. Look ahead, not at what you'll do this month, but at what you'll refuse to become. That's the Stoic move, the art of living. Not through excess, but through intentional refusal. We're used to setting goals in terms of what to achieve, what to chase, what to conquer. But the wiser path might be to turn around and ask, what do I no longer want to carry? But behaviors, patterns, or identities do I need to let go of? So That sentence alone can change the emotional temperature of your week. I refuse to chase approval when silence would serve me better. That's not passive, that's powerful. I refuse to perform stress just because the world is noisy. That isn't laziness, that's precision. Most of what drains you isn't what you do, it's what you carry. The tension of constantly trying to be understood, validated, seen, and most of it leads nowhere. Carl Jung once said the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But how can you do that if every day is spent reacting to things that pull you further from yourself? You can't hear your own voice if it's always drowned out by the pressure to explain, perform, or prove. The Stoics understood that freedom doesn't come from doing more, it comes from needing less justification, less performance, less comparison. Because real mastery is subtraction, the removal of anything that dilutes your presence, your purpose, your peace. The world will try to convince you that adding more is the solution, more goals, more tools, more hustle. But when was the last time all that more made you feel more whole, more secure, more grounded? Often it just piles on. It creates a life so cluttered that you can't even see what matters anymore. Aristotle taught that knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. But knowing yourself requires silent space. The kind of mental room that can only exist when you stop chasing the unnecessary. So take this moment to consider what you're no longer available for. Not out of bitterness, but out of alignment. Maybe you're done reacting to every message that buzzes your phone. Maybe you're done explaining your vision to people committed to misunderstanding. It may be you're done saying yes when every part of you wants to say no. It lets your values breathe. You stop trying to fit into everyone's expectations and start honoring the shape of your own soul. You realize that a peaceful life isn't built on achievement alone. It's built on boundaries. Each week, make time for this. Look ahead, not through the lens of tasks, but through the lens of your identity. Who am I when I stop reacting? Who am I when I stop explaining? The noise of the world won't stop, but you can choose not to echo it. You can choose not to mirror it. You can walk through it, steady, present, intentional. That's what it means to live like a Stoic, not by denying the world, but by refusing to let it shape you into someone you're not. So, take the next 30 days not as a challenge to do more, but as an invitation to clear space for your thoughts, space for your values, space for the quiet kind of strength that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. And when you look back, you won't just feel lighter, you'll realize you've become more yourself than ever. Not through addition, but through subtraction. That's where the real transformation begins. Here's how it all locks in. After all the reflection, all the quiet effort, all the small daily shifts, anchor it with one simple act, not a dramatic overhaul, not a checklist of 30 new habits. Just one ritual, one promise, one behavior that marks the boundary between who you were and who you are choosing to become. It can be as small as a silent walk at dawn, where no phone, no music, no distractions touch you, just you, your breath, your steps, and the quiet of the early world. Or maybe it's a journal entry each night. A single paragraph where you meet yourself honestly without excuses or exaggeration. Maybe it's the cold shock of water each morning, a brief reminder that you choose what's hard not because it's fun but because it shapes you. This is not about perfection, it's about precision. One non-negotiable ritual done with presence, done with care, done especially on the days when everything in you resists it, because that's when it matters most. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do not. What you say you'll do." And this is the line that separates the dream from the decision. You don't build identity through scattered promises. You build it by doing the same thing every day, with reverence that one act becomes your mirror, your anchor, your declaration to the world and to yourself. This is who I am becoming. And when you do it enough times, when it becomes less of a task and more of a rhythm, you stop having to remind yourself, you just move. You just do it, the act becomes you. That's when something shifts deep inside. The resistance gets quieter, the excuses start to lose their grip, and in their place comes something stronger, not motivation, something steadier, something deeper, discipline rooted in identity. Because motivation comes and goes like weather. It's reactive. It waits for the right mood, the right playlist, the right quote. In a world full of noise, but through the slow burn of consistency, through the act that says, I'm not chasing a better version of myself anymore, I've decided who I am. The signature act is there not to prove you're perfect, but to keep you aligned. So when you drift, you don't spiral, you return, you recommit quietly, daily, with grace. Socrates once said, be as you wish to seem, and maybe this is the modern form of that wisdom, not pretending but becoming, not waiting for, but because it plants a flag, a line in the sand, a daily reminder that you are no longer wishing for growth. You are walking it, and eventually, without needing to say a word, you'll look back and realize you're no longer becoming you already. You don't rise by accident, you rise by choice, quiet, daily, deliberate choice, and the person you're becoming, they're already within you. Every act, every moment is a step closer. Stay steady, stay sharp, and when you need a reminder, this space will be here. Watch the next video on screen. Let it guide you deeper. And thank you for walking this path with Stoic Journey. You being here means more than you know. Until next time, hold your center, trust your path, and keep choosing the quiet strength within you.